Hello, I'm Robin Gibson, and this is your Harvard House Money Morsel. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us again. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the bell so that you get a notification of when we release a video. I'm sitting today with Willie Pelser. Willie, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Willie, before the pandemic, the big buzzword around South Africa was downgrade. Now we see the big buzzword is greylisting, and there's this little thing called FATF. Can you tell us what FATF is, and then we'll look at greylisting?
100%, Robin, yes. It's one of those acronyms that you can't actually do something with it in the sense of FATF. You try and figure out if you can make a joke out of it or not. But yeah, it's the Financial Action Task Force. That's basically what it stands for. It actually dates back to 1989 at a G7 summit in Paris, where the G7 is sort of the big 7 countries in the world, or economic powers, got together and said we need something to counter money laundering. So that was the main aim of this, call it a law or regulations or whatever. And then later on, they defined they enhanced the definition to include financing terrorism.
Okay.
So that's what it is.
Okay. So I mean, obviously, there's been a lot of anxiety and comment about South Africa potentially being greylisted in terms of this FATF. What does it mean, and what are the implications, and should we be really concerned about it?
All right, Robin. Yeah, the principle of the greylisting is, and I'll get back to some of the reasons. Is yes, if that happened, it has certain implications for a country, not so much companies, but for a country overall. So the big fuss around this is actually a deadline. Now, it's amazing how deadlines can create panic, and that's exactly where we are. If we go back to August of 2021, FATF warned South Africa that we need to put some more credible checks and balances in place. It's a fairly large document with a lot of subheadings and stuff in there. Last week, I actually attended a conference, and a speaker went through sort of a whole list of these things. But the crux is there's 12 that were highlighted for us. Now, I'm not going to go through the 12. The principle is we need to look at why we manage so much cash through the financial system in South Africa, how that cash is transferred cross-border. That's an issue. And Cyril didn't help us in this regard. And then the main crux is actually around the legality around entities. Now, as an individual, it's very simple. I've got your ID, I've got your birth certificate, I've got a photo of you, I've got you. Simple, that's you. So you can get financial transactions. When it comes to other entities, and now we're going into the sphere of this whole state capture, is special purpose vehicles, trusts. Obviously, the SOEs were exposed to this and so on. So, in principle, is how do you prove that you're the entity? Or who's the beneficiary further down these entities? Because, we work with trusts. So sometimes you get the trust was created by someone, and then you've got beneficiaries, and that's where the problem comes in. So in this whole thing, we've got a deadline to implement processes. What they've highlighted was we are praised all over the world for our financial market system. FATF said the same. Tick mark, yes. However, it is so advanced that there's lots of loopholes. And our purpose now as South Africa is to go and look at the legal framework around these things. FATF also warned us that our enforcement, in the sense of prosecuting those, are not in place or can't be done because of insufficiencies, because of technical capability. So we need to sort these things out. So if we talk about the principle of yes, are we going to get this greylisted, yes or no? The verdict in the country and abroad is yes, we might land there's a better than 50% chance. Some people are ascribing 70% to it. We are going to get greylisted, because to sort this out, we had a year, typical South Africa, the deadline's here now. We haven't ticked all the boxes in what we need to do. So it's not irrevocable. Malta is a country where, same principle, they managed to get these things in place and they were taken off. So we are in a process. If we think of the prosecutions around state capture, those type of things, it is happening. The positive to some extent in this as well is, and I've listened last week to Mike Brown, the CEO of Nedbank, and he, in his speech, he sort of gave us 5 minutes on this principle from a financial institution perspective. And as he said, the one thing South Africa didn't realize, and even for them as the authorities clamping down on this money laundering, is state capture was a specially designed purpose vehicle. And the depth that these entities and individuals went into caught these oaks napping whilst we were drying. That's the sort of term that's going around. So it was well planned. The advantage is, because it was so well planned, we can plan around closing the loopholes. And from a financial institution perspective, because that's where the crux is, it's not the other sort of entities, because money doesn't really flow either through these things in a different way. Yes, we have the cash system, in a sense, a briefcase type of thing, so they can enhance on these things. There are concerns out there, and again, the day that we get the listing or the announcement on the front page of all newspapers, South Africa is greylisted, will financial markets react? It's one of those things. There's been a rumor, whoa, we get this, and then maybe there's a bit of a fall in some financial institutions' share prices. I ascribe a very low probability to that, because this has been known in the system and it's not really affecting the earnings of companies. This is just a legal sort of framework. Yeah. It will affect the financial flow from a foreign investment and a local investment. In a sense, we have to do better due diligence before funds can flow between companies, between especially these special entities type of things, because all companies use special purpose vehicles. That's sort of a part of the trade. But I think the due diligence from a financial institution is going to ratchet up. There's a cost to that. So you want to do something, it might take longer, because we're going to go through these sort of 12 checkpoints now with a bigger magnifying glass just to check. There will be a cost to that. But the impact on the GDP, for that matter, or the impact on the economy, I think will be fairly small. But again, headline news is always the thing that drives us. Greylisting, I think you will see it on the 1st of October, because that's actually when we will land on this list. And but it's sort of a non-event in some regard.
In many ways, yeah. Well, it sounds to me like we're all going to be dealing with a lot more paperwork to do anything we want to do. Willie, thanks for colouring in on that for us. Thank you for joining us. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.